Hi, it's about 11 o'clock right now here in New England. I'm trying to go fast here because there's a lot to talk about. Hazardous weather outlook right now, just for the brief potential of some frosts and freezes tonight. So if you did any early season planting, not a good idea. So, um, plants yet again being hit hard by this recent cool down. All right, briefly talking here, it's going to be an intense and action packed long term forecast. I see stormy, and stormy conditions. Have a good few chances of some snows. Potentially, every single chance could potentially be bringing intense snows with it. Okay. First chance comes this weekend. However, right now models are kind of flip flopping back and forth on what's going to happen with that. Second chance comes in towards, I would say, the end of next week, and then the beginning of the following week. Okay, so the two times that I would say we have the best chance would be towards the end of next week and the beginning of the following week. That's the two primary concerns right now. Other than that, the one for this weekend, we'll show you what the models are saying. So briefly taking a look at the NAM model, this indicates a little bit of some cool weather tonight. I'm trying to really move fast here because there's just too much to talk about. So many models to show you. This is some rain being indicated. Briefly going through here, we could be talking about a little bit of coatings of snow, as of course this 540 line will be very close to us. So if that's the case, don't be surprised to see a little coating as you're waking up on Thursday morning. Okay, so Thursday morning. The reason why? Well, we have a coastal low forming off the coast of Kittery with the cool front kind of dragging like that. Guess what? Maine will be inundated with some snows, and actually showing you the accumulations for that. Potentially 5 to 7 inches into some localized regions. Most of Maine, I would say, on average, 3 to 5 inches. Like I said, the hot spot will be central Maine. To the north, I would say 3 to 5 inches, and of course, to the south, really the line will be practically, I would say Augusta, Lewiston, Augusta, that region of Maine will be the cutoff point. If you work your way south of that, nothing. Maybe a coating into some regions, and I will explain why in just a second. But other than that, nothing much. And actually, this is really where I explain why we could be talking about some coatings here. Other than that, you can see the low moves away. We're not talking about anything. Our focus now moves and shifts towards this region of the country. This is the weekend storm, okay? The weekend storm. What could we be talking about that? Well, it's really going to be all up on how this storm wants to move. Does the storm want to move something like this? Does the storm want to move like this? Or does the storm want to move like this? One model is indicating this. One model is indicating this. Most of them are in the middle right now, which is more to the north than yesterday. But in any event, it's still not that far to the north. It's still too far to the south for us to see nothing out of this. You can see there's what I'm talking about. You can see maybe some snows into New York. Oh yeah, there's potentials for some snows in New York City, but not here. Here, yeah, like I said, maybe a coating, but who really cares about a coating, right? And of course, that's when the NAM doesn't work anymore because it's after its time period. All right, so moving on. This is the GGM model. I think that's what it is, the GGEM, or the GGEM model. I've heard of it before. This is the very first time I'm actually using it in one of my forecasts or one of my updates here. You can see this is, again, what goes on. And this is actually saying it's going to be a little bit warmer with this upcoming storm. There will be an area of low pressure that forms off the coast of New Hampshire, Kittery, northeast Mass, which could enhance some snows for central Maine, which is the reason why I'm thinking there could be some pretty good snows up into those regions. So if you live into central Maine, get ready. You're going to get some snow. And then this does indicate maybe a couple flakes or flurries, but other than that, the real event for this particular model is the one on for the weekend. And if it does do this, we'd be buried in snow by the end of the weekend. This is essentially what they're saying. We could potentially, if this model goes correctly, you could see that the coastal low would be off of the coast of Long Island, and it would be moving in this general direction. With the cool air practically stuck in place, it would be a very favorable development for some hefty snows. Whether or not this does that or not is really going to be a major question. This is the only model that suggests we could be potentially talking about intense snowfall this upcoming weekend. Because the general consensus is saying no, I'm going to generally say no for that potential chance. So, I could probably bet you almost 10 to 1 we're probably not going to see that. This is the Navy, and this is another one that kind of goes a little bit extreme with their predictions, but they're going the opposite. They're saying this thing will be going too far to the south. This is the for tomorrow, and then you can see there's that storm I'm talking about, and you can see this says, nah, it's going to go way, way, way out to sea, not affecting us at all. This is actually going in line with the European. Will it go this particular way? I'm not sure yet. You can see that the cool air, according to this, sticks in longer. This is actually a potential development for some snows. If this particular pattern were to hold, we wouldn't be seeing much of a warm-up next week. If that's the case, then I would say a potential of a snowstorm for the middle part of next week. We'll have to see what happens with that. I'm not sure, but you can definitely see, according to this, this would be forming a storm. And then what would be happening is this would be riding up the coast, potentially giving us an intense snowstorm. So we'll have to see what happens with that. This is the longer range forecasting model, and then this is, of course, really in line with the GFS model. You can see this is essentially saying most of the snows would be staying to our south, really through New York City, which is essentially what the NAM model is saying, which is, you want to look for consistency, and you want to look for agreement within models. So if that's the case, then we're not going to get much, okay? With the Codins being as far to the north as our region, with 1 to 3 inches going as far to the north as Fairfield, Connecticut, Fairfield County, Connecticut, the Bridgeport region. New York City, like I said, could pick up a good inch to few inches of snows if that's correct. Other than that, this indicates a warm-up, a little bit of rain. Then there's an intense cool front that moves through. How can I tell? Well, you can kind of note the way how the line goes. You can practically draw a line. These would be indicating some pretty nasty thunderstorms because there's obviously some warm Gulf moisture feeding into this. Ahead of it's warm, behind it it's cold. What does that mean? Thunderstorms for the south. So that's what's being indicated by this particular model. Things start cooling down after that, and then that's when the model kind of doesn't work anymore because it's after its period. This is the European model. Okay, this is right now. Tonight temperatures will be, this doesn't really show precipitation, so I kind of have to explain to you a little bit more. This shows that there could be some pretty intense cold tonight with some 20s, and then tomorrow we see temperatures rising into the 50s to around 60 degrees. And then we get that cool shot for the weekend, and then this is actually where they get the potential that the storm will be potentially kind of going down like this. Okay, will be going down like this. So that would be how the storm would be riding. However, with the indication that it would be moving more along like that, it may still give some snow into some of these regions. So We'll have to see what happens. But essentially, a little bit of snow is being indicated by this particular model, by the European. Then they say that we do have a little bit of a warm-up, but then a cool-down, okay? How intense that warm-up gets and if it stays cold is going to be a big question. This indicates a formation of a coastal storm by the end of next week, okay? Where this storm forms, the GFS says it forms out in here. The European says it forms on the coast. If it forms on the coast, we would be talking about some major problems. Major problems. Because why? Look at this. Haven't seen this much this year. This is an intense coastal low. You have the cold air in place, practically into the 30s, 20s, temperatures like that. And this is riding up in this general direction. Wind strong. This is really, if you look at it from a meteorological standpoint, this is a nor'easter, indicating heavy snows from anywhere, I would say, between portions of Washington all the way through Philly, New York, and Boston and our region. Could the European be right? Absolutely. Will things update? Absolutely. So we'll have to kind of tweak this as time moves on. And, of course, that's for Good Friday. So Thursday night into Good Friday. Now, this is the GFS model. Briefly talking about what they're showing over the next several days. They say a little bit of rain for tomorrow. Then, of course, they say there's that cool down. There's that storm. It says it misses us. Not given much in the way of precipitation. So, probably not going to see much, and if we do see anything, it would be very little, is really what most of the models are saying. Now, the GFS indicates a warm-up, and, of course, then a cool-down. How intense this cool-down gets, and if we can get the cool air in place by around the 5th, then you can see that there's a storm that forms. I don't know if I buy that it's going to be this warm. I'm not sure yet, okay? But if this is right, we could be potentially talking about a storm forming, and then an absolutely drenching rain potentially sometime along for Good Friday. If that's the case, we would be seeing an intense rainstorm, not an intense snowstorm. However, they have a storm, which is important. Okay, both the European and the GFS have a storm on tap. Okay, whether there's going to be cold air or warm air in place is going to be a major question. You can see that moves out, but the GFS today has been indicating the 9th for their major snowstorm, for their pounding snowstorm. Okay, this would be absolutely piles of snow. This would probably be dropping something anywhere between at least 8 inches, if not a good foot to a foot and a half of snow, if not more than that. So really, like I said, if you noticed, the European and the GFS right now are hinting at a major snowstorm. It's either going to be for Good Friday or it's going to be for the Monday after Easter. Right now, I'm not sure which one is right or if they're both right. If they're both right, holy crud. Tons and tons of snow. 2 snowstorms on top of each other. Could that be the case? We'll see. Things will update as time moves its way onward. Stay tuned, and I will update you tomorrow. Have a great rest of your evening.